Hi, Sister Moms. While we hope that you enjoy listening to the Four Moms podcast and find it helpful, it is not intended to replace a relationship with a licensed mental health professional. If you have questions about finding a mental health provider, please email us at fourmoms827@gmail.com and we will send you a list of resources.
We are Four Moms, a platform intended to uplift and empower those who listen so that they find their voice, seek healing, and recover their strength. It is our hope that in tuning into Four Moms, you find a community full of laughter, thought provoking conversation, and you see a little bit of yourself in each one of us because we are four daughters, four women, and four moms here for you.
Hi, Sister Moms. Welcome back. Come on in and chat with us.
Hi, thank you for joining us in our last episode of 2020. We made it. We all
Woo.
survived this crazy year. So barely, but we here. So today we're just gonna answer a quick question. The question of the day is, what is the biggest lesson you learned in 2020? I'll go first, but I think 2020 has taught us all a lot. I would say the biggest takeaway for me is that if I can survive 2020, I can survive anything. So just keep going. Um, Survived anxiety attacks, loss of friendships, graduating with my master's, homeschooling my kid full time, working from home full time with a kid. Let me specify with a toddler. So if I can survive 2020, I think that I can survive anything. So just keep pushing. So Kalima, what did you learn in 2020 or what's your biggest takeaway?
Yeah, so many things. You named like my life just now, but I would say the key thing for me, I think, has just been to like own my own life, like in the moment, and not worry about what other people think, say. You just can't. Like life is short, and yeah, for me, like even making a decision of taking my children out of school and then only homeschooling them like full time with no like literally withdrawing them from the board of education, like that was really really scary for me. But doing that and making that decision despite whether parents were on board, meaning grandparents or friends or neighbors, like without y'all I probably wouldn't have pushed myself because y'all like actually supported me through it, like it's okay girl, do it, like you feel that strong, but naturally you want that level of support from everybody, right? So especially like in the Black community, a lot of people don't understand the benefits of homeschooling and things like that. So either way, just saying all of that to just give an example of like that was a major leap for me. And I just was like, this is my life, these are my little humans that I created. And I choose to do this for them. So at 34 years old, I could say I kind of feel like an adult, like I kind of grew up this year. um and even something as small as like really putting my foot down on certain things that my kids are allowed to eat, like in their body, taking in. um like even when they go to grandparents' house, grandparents when they give a big cookie before bed and all this other crazy stuff, and it's like, no, like I don't want them to have teeth issues, I don't want them to have this. So like that adult in me and like owning my own little family and owning my own unit and moving as like a unit for my husband and I and my children has that's what 2020 has brought to me. So lots of loss and grief and things like that, which I'm unfortunately kind of used to. So I know how to work through that. But I would say between that and then even putting myself in therapy, like with a background as a therapist, like, a lot of times we don't get that type of support and help, for ourselves. So me, venturing out even to that part and like actually showing up for the therapist, showing up for the session when I wanted to cancel for no reason, I just didn't want to do it. That was even for me, it's just like owning my life, period. So I know I went like super long, but I just had to share that.
So,
Kalima, when you were speaking, especially specifically about the therapist, I know you and I had chatted about that a little bit because I had made the choice in the midst of all this stuff too that, I need somebody to talk to. But when you said, you didn't want to go some days, I immediately thought, but you deserve that time. Like you deserve to sit back and just let whatever it is come on out and have somebody listen to you and validate you and give you whatever support it is that you need. And while both of y'all were speaking, Alnisa and Kalima, I was thinking, I hear what you've been through in this year, but I also hear a lot of hope, that even though this has been a rough one, that y'all are in a good space, that, y'all are holding on to your wellness, holding on to your happiness. And, I think I want to hear more about that, how you maintain that hope in the midst of all this stuff.
uh, one of the, I guess, important aspects of me is kind of what Kalima was saying, pushing through and going to that therapist appointment when you didn't want to. This year, I reached like never had before levels of anxiety and depression, and being isolated and quarantined and not knowing what tomorrow holds and not knowing if my family is going to be sick or my family or friends are going to be the ones to suffer a loss from this pandemic. I just didn't know how to deal with that anymore. And I was lucky that I had already been involved with a therapist who kind of picked up on, hey, you're kind of spiraling out of control. Let's reel it back in. And here are these tools to help you when you feel like you're outside of your zone of tolerance so that you can get back in and make healthy decisions for you. Because at the end of the day, all I can control is me. And I think a prayer that, a lot of people recite, but it doesn't really hold meaning until you like really need it, is God give me the strength, right? To know the things that I can control, know the things that I can't control, right? And the wisdom to know the difference. And I feel like just having that little saying in the back of my mind, I can't control COVID. I can't control the pandemic. I can only control how I react to it. And that goes for everything that I had to deal with this year. I can't control what other people do. I can't control what other people say. I can only control how I react to it. So I feel like getting that little bit of control and holding on to it really brought me through this year.
I love that. For me, just really quickly to sum it all up, I just did a lot of things that scared the heck out of me. Like I did a lot of things that took me way out of my comfort zone. And that's like making new friends, like meeting y'all and well, I knew obviously, but you know what I'm saying, like making new friends, going to Dr. Lamb's event that she had in her home. Like we didn't know each other, you know what I mean? Like I just moved down here to this area, so like that in itself, like started my own individual podcast that I had before. And then, we launched this podcast together. Just like doing the things that I'm fearful of and that I don't normally do, like public speaking and things like that I'm not comfortable with, allowed me to have hope for 2020 because I'm like, I'm actually lit out here. Like I could do this. So so what about y'all, Dr. Lamb? You can share some.
Y'all out here thriving. Um, so when I think about 2020, I think a couple of things I have really learned. One is acceptance, which is so hard. It is so hard to accept that you don't have control in certain situations and to take a seat back and then learn how to like tolerate that lack of control. Because if you don't have control, then it's really hard to feel safe. It's really hard to stay calm. So somewhere in the midst of this pandemic, I think I had reached my stress level. Like there was just like this cap and I just couldn't hold on to that energy anymore. And I just kind of took a step back. I stopped watching the news every single day, all day. Like in the beginning, CNN was on all day. Everything was on all day. I was going between the governor reports and CNN, and it was just so overwhelming. And made me so panicked. So I just somehow, I think, started doing some yoga, started connecting with new folks, started opening up and sharing what was going on for me emotionally. I think I tend to be more of a listener, but I started doing more talking. And, all that stuff was helpful. Getting my own therapist was helpful. So just, again, just kind of getting into that zone where I was accepting and going through the motions and just learning how to really tolerate a lot of that stuff. At the same time, the other piece is that I learned how to take some risks.
In the words of the late John Lewis, starting some trouble, some necessary trouble, and it's actually been quite fun. I have had fun starting a little bit of trouble. And for me, that was part of my healing too. That, when we were hearing about the murders of unarmed people of color, the Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and so many, countless others, I felt overwhelmed and angry and powerless. And I started to think like, I have to do something. The stake is too high for me not to do something. So I talked to some folks I was working with and said, here's what I want to do. I want to start speaking about racism more explicitly in my work. And it wasn't always, carved out, and it wasn't always designed to be delivered that way. But I'm like, hey, culture is a part of the conversation, even when it's not a part of the conversation. So I just started leaning more into my identity that, I'm do a lot of educating and talking to people, but it's no secret I'm a Black woman. So let's talk about culture while I'm here, So yeah, I really leaned into that and took some risk, and it's been really a part of healing. Like, I feel like I'm trying to change my little corner of the world. What about you, Earth?
Listening to all you guys, it's about like owning your life, like owning the rights to, living your life and having your family the way you want it to be without outside people coming and trying to tell you what to do and what not to do. And what I learned this year is that I need to like surrender. I need to surrender to things that I can't do and things that I can do, especially regards to like being a mother. I think this year Luna turned 1 and it was very challenging, pandemic, daycare, and just figuring out how to keep her safe. And then also figuring out how to keep my whole family safe. And I had to, like a lot of you guys said, just say like, I can't control COVID. All I can do is control what I can do. So basically taking care of myself this year of like going out on walks, just clearing my head. When work frustrates me, just not pushing through the day, but saying like, no, I need to stop and, go outside, get some fresh air. So I always complained years before about not getting to know my neighbors, and COVID was the perfect thing. I got to know my neighbors, and I got to really know my community and know what place I'm at in my life and where I could be in the future once I get to know and be outside of my little bubble in my home. Because like you, Kalima, I moved here 2 years ago. So I was just complaining about like, this isn't here, the food's not, and I'm just like, I need to explore my community so I get to know, the people out here, the food out here, because food is different from North Jersey, Central Jersey, and South Jersey. So I just had to surrender to just not always having my thoughts and just exploring more things out in the world.
I love
it's scary. It is definitely scary, especially dealing with COVID and trying to be safe at the same time.
Yeah, like I think we all had to do that. Like you summed it up perfect. We had to surrender. Like we were all forced to sit still with ourselves, with our thoughts, with our family, whether we wanted to or not. The folks that live in your house, you had to be with them 24 hours a day. You had to cook. You had to think. You had to be intentional. It stretched us. Almost, it took us back like 50 years. You know what I mean? Like it took us back to the old school where they had a little bit and they made a lot out of it, like really being intentional, with each other. Because I mean, these devices are nice, but you get tired of being on social media, watching movies, whatever. So it forced you to sit at the table with each other. So I love that sign of surrendering. This is the year of surrendering. So
yeah. It sounds like we all too chose happiness. We chose to redefine what happiness was going to look like, because I know the summer that I just had was not the summer that I planned. Okay. I planned to be on somebody's beach in the Caribbean, but I was in my backyard. So, I think it slowed us down, and it forced us to choose an alternative route, a route that's still enjoyable, and it looks different, but it still brings happiness. Like, I don't think we've ever went on so many walks in our lives together. Like we were walking the community. Oh, look, there's a new house for sale. Like just kind of walking around and finding other ways to just have fun. So I've been really appreciative of those small things and all the little conversations I've been able to have with folks because of this time to slow down.
And a lot of memories that came out of that too, like thinking about what you did as a little kid, like how, like we couldn't watch TV all day. Like, we couldn't be on the computer all day. So being outside was our fun. So, just like, oh, I would have been like smelling the fresh air again instead of just being in your house. It was very like, just bringing up old memories of like summers you used to have at your grandparents' house or hanging out with your friends all summer.
Yeah. Doing things you don't normally do. I don't know if y'all noticed, but I don't like bugs or nature too much. And I had a picnic on my birthday, like in the grass, sitting in the grass. It was real. It was real.
I hear a lot of growth in these conversations. Some major highlights from all of us were to keep pushing, do the unthinkable, take risk, and learn to accept and surrender. And that all would definitely help us achieve and unlock new levels of understanding, self-care, and happiness for now and in the future. And talking about our future, we're just going to move on to our topic of, what goals do we have for the 2021? What New Year's resolutions, if any? I know it's hard to plan because, like Dr. Lamb said, I'm planning again to be on somebody's beach in 2021, but that may not happen. So we have to be a little bit more flexible in those plans. So I'll get started with some of mine, excluding my number one goal of being on someone's beach all summer long. I am a recent graduate. I did graduate with my Master's of Public Health this year. Yay, thank you. So why nobody told me how hard it was to find a job in your field? I thought that I was going to graduate and then I would have just job offers waiting for me. And I was like, it's so hard. Where was I supposed to get the 3 years of experience while I was doing 2 years in school to get the degree so that I could qualify for the other requirements? So my goal for 2021 is to get into my field. I have to be realistic and intentional with that goal. I'm trying to keep all my goals as SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and according to a time frame. So when I say get into my field, I don't necessarily mean being in my dream job, because I realize that that takes about 5 years of experience, but just dipping my feet and taking a step towards the transition, securing something within the first 6 months of 2021, if not by the end of 2021. That's my first main goal. My second and my last main goal of 2021 is to just be healthier. Being healthy for me includes a lot, includes exercise, includes self-care, includes therapy. But when I specifically say be healthier in 2021, I mean food. We talked about this in our Thanksgiving episode. I am not trusted to bring nothing but ice to the Thanksgiving. And even the ice order comes in specific directions. So my goal is to get some good cookware, get some recipes for Christmas, hint, hint, and start cooking so that I could bring something other than mimosas to the brunch. So Earth, do you have any goals or New Year's resolutions for 2021?
New Year's resolution for 2021. Oh my God. So I went to the doctor this year for my checkup and I got my blood work done. And basically my doctor called me and said, girl, if you want to have a baby, you have to get these things in order. So I have a list of referrals to go to all these doctor's appointments just to make sure that I'm healthy inside and out to hopefully have another child. So like you, one goal is to get healthier. I ordered a treadmill. That was my Christmas present.
Yay.
And it should be here by tomorrow or the next day. So let's pray. As far as the eating healthy, Alnisa, my sister watches a lot of vegan YouTube and Instagram channels, and that has helped with recipes a lot. I watched this one called Flav City, and he actually goes into Costco, Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, and tell you what to buy and why to buy and what's good and what's bad. So that has helped me figure out, what to purchase. It can be expensive at times, but he also lets you know, like, this is expensive, but you could buy this for less if you want to. So that has helped. So yes, getting healthy. I would like to read more. I feel like all I read is right now is stuff for work, and you kind of get jaded on what's actually going on in the world, or sometimes you need to escape by reading a book. Mm-hmm. So I picked up a book last month, actually, and I haven't opened it yet. So my goal is to start reading something every night instead of watching CNN at night. Mm-hmm. And my other goal is to hopefully become more spiritual. I actually had a dream last night, and it woke me up. And it was a funny thing. I was on a treadmill, and I got off, and some lady was like, "You're never gonna get it." And I was like, "Why?" Like, I'm working out, like I'm eating healthy. What? I'm never gonna get it. It's like, because you're not spiritually aligned. Mm. Your mind, body, and soul are not working together to basically get my body or where I need to be. And I woke up like I have a lot of dreams that eventually come true. Like I've always had this since I was little. So that dream was very vivid, that I was at a gym and this woman was just like sitting there talking to me, looking at me like, and she saw that I was working so hard and just nothing was hitting there. And the crazy thing is that I started going to church with my grandmother. Sorry.
It's okay.
Good breath.
Gotta let it out.
I started going to church with my grandmother after my dad had passed away 2 years ago. And I didn't grow up in church, but when I'm with her and I'm there with her, I feel so at peace. Mm-hmm. And I think I'm the only like 37-year-old there, because it's a very small church, very old church. Mostly it's older people there. But there's a difference between when you like grow up in church and when you find that you need church. Mm-hmm. And by having that dream, and that the anniversary of my dad's passing is coming away, I feel like I need to be there. Like I need to find a church home. Mm-hmm. Because my head and my heart are not in line. Mm-hmm. And so that is something I really want to work on for 2021, because this, even though I have surrendered to not being like the perfect wife, the perfect mom, and having everything in order, I haven't surrendered to God. I haven't surrendered to, whatever higher power, that I need right now to get me through years on end. So that's something that I didn't even think I was going to share, but I'm glad I did. But yeah, like 2021 needs to be a year of me just truly letting go of the fears that I have of trying new things and exploring new things, and be afraid if I'm not concerned about friends, but if my family doesn't agree with the things that I'm choosing in my life. So, yeah, that's it.
I love a good
Yes, I love a good cry. I wish I could give you a hug right now. Here's an air hug.
Cyber hugs.
Cyber hugs. It's really good for you to let it out. I think what we were talking about earlier, like redefining what that happiness is part of what you're talking about. You have to be able to recognize the things that brings you peace and work to actively attaining that peace each and every day. And I know due to this pandemic, we can't go sit inside of a church right now, or even if we could, it may not be something that's safe for us to do, but there are so many other options for you to still like work towards getting that peace. different apps. A lot of, I know Kalima's church does like virtual church too on Sundays. My church does it. So there's so many different options for you to obtain that peace and that spirituality alignment that you're looking for. If you're looking for a good book to read, I subscribe to the book of the month. I'm gonna send you the link and you could pick a book every month and they send it to you and we could read it together and talk about it together. But thank you for sharing all of that with us. It's very refreshing to see the passion behind the goals that we're setting for 2021.
Yeah, and thank you for your courage, Earth. And I think that you're probably closer to finding that balance than you think. You know, it seems like your heart's leading you in a certain way, and you're not too far from that goal.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was gonna say thank you for sharing, because I know Dr. Lamb and I have actually talked about this like in an off setting, like in a married couple setting, but we were saying like this year just spiritually kind of felt like, where am I at? You know, who am I? You know, like this 2020 tested your spirit with a T, capital T, like never before. Like, you know, you had, like I said before, you had to sit with your thoughts. I know I sat with mine, and when I thought I was fake deep, I didn't know anything. You know what I mean? So I had to like start as a newborn this year and really see what spiritually is working for me. What role or what box am I putting myself into, you know, spiritually, to conform to other people, you know, because our spiritual walks are not going to look alike, you know, like we can all be spiritual, but everybody's walk and the way you get there is going to be different. Some people meditate, some people do yoga, some people pray, you know, like that's why we're all unique. That's why, you know, the creator has made us all individuals, because we have different ways to express ourselves. So don't feel like you're alone, because I think we're all jacked up right now when it comes to spirituality, because it's just hard.
Raise your hand.
It's hard to believe we're living in these scary times. Like it's a real thing. And I think when you have children and you become a mom, that makes it even more scarier. Like I'm scared for my boys, you know what I mean? And I try not to be scared, because the Bible says don't pray and worry, you know, but it's really difficult to do that when there's so much anxiety around, like we've been saying, just the unknown. And then you just want to protect your babies, right? You just want to protect your husbands or your boyfriends or whoever, your partners. So it is just a testing year spiritually. Like we're not talking about religion, we're talking about the spirit. Because anybody can be religious, you know what I mean? But that spirit inside that's actually moving through us, like you said, the whole being, mind, body, soul connection, that joint is confused. But there's hope. Like these types of platforms, like the moms that are listening, you know, we're not trying to like be super deep, but this is a real moment, because I think everybody at this point has either questioned it, whether you're a pastor, preacher, it doesn't matter, bishop, rabbi, whatever. Like it really, because we don't know, right? So I think this is just a healthy, awesome conversation to talk about, especially when there's so much grief. When you keep seeing 300,000 people died, that is scary, and that will shake anybody up and make you be like, God, where are you? Like what's happening? Like where's this higher person, higher being? So not to get too deep into it, but I'm just saying that I can totally identify. I think we all can at this point. And if you're not identifying, then wake up and look around, because this is real. Like this is reality right now. So but there is hope. So there is hope. So since I'm talking for me, goals wise, I mean, I have a lot of goals that I wrote down, but I would say spiritual was one of my main ones, because I used to be super deep into my church in terms of like working in the church, teaching different things like that. Musically, my husband and I met at church. Like that's why we connected from the beginning, right? So when that was intentionally, like we kind of stepped away from it just to get grounded within our little family. And then now it's stripped away. We actually found a church locally down in this area that we actually like. But you know, like Anissa said, it's been virtual, so that's great. But it's not the same as like being in the presence of people like-minded in that community. So that in itself has forced me to look within spiritually, like I said before, and kind of just see like what areas do I need to grow in, what areas am I still unsure in, questioning, fearful of, or just haven't tapped into. So I think one small thing I've been doing, as I'm homeschooling my boys, I add a little spiritual element to it, and it's not super deep, but it just could be a verse, it could be a little video, because my sons are obsessed with Samson and Delilah and Jonah. Like they have the little stories they watch, right? So it's right on YouTube. And I'm learning because even though I've been deep before, and I say that for a reason, I didn't know anything about the Bible. I didn't know the stories, right? So I'm trying to learn for myself, and read for myself to see, what am I saying that I really identify with here. So between that and just relationships overall, making space for myself in the relationships that I have, between marriage, friendships, family ships, all of the shit, situationships, just trying to figure out like who is in my circle and positioning those people accordingly. Having that relational intelligence, actually my pastor talks about having relational intelligence and knowing who is a friend, who is an associate, who is an assignment. Like when you know where people are in your life, at least for me, then I'm able to better move. So that's me.
Okay. Goals for 2020. I have a few. I have to start with this quarantine 15. Okay. I have to get
25.
I gotta get rid of these pounds. They're not wanted here. They need to pick up and go. And not for vanity reasons alone. Like I have some health issues I'm trying to work on. I have a family history of high blood pressure. So that's something I've been dealing with, and I don't want to be on medication for the rest of my life. I'm 34 and I don't want to, like have to do this for forever. So, I need to get active again. I need to prioritize my physical health, because when I feel strong and I'm active, then I feel emotionally better. I feel emotionally stable. So like y'all all are talking about that mind body connection, I need to get it together. So that's going to be a goal of mine. I've actually been talking to Anissa, who has a degree in nutrition, about maybe trying a gluten-free diet for a little while and just see how that impacts my body. So I'm excited to try something new and just really, kind of place my health as a priority. Another goal is to invest in that spirituality that you all are talking about, just to feel more grounded in faith, to have more spiritual language. And I realized when the shutdown occurred, I felt lost without a church, and that's a sign of someone who hasn't been doing the work, like the work to know and to kind of hold on and be grounded in your faith. So that's something that I want to work on. And the last thing that I really want to do is just to continue to lean into parts of my identity that I think are easily silenced. I think as women in general, we tend to take the back seat and maybe reserve or pull back a little bit to serve others. So whether it be serving your children or your partner or a boss, or we tend to hold back and not really use our full talent and skills in a lot of different areas. So I just want to be louder in my interests and in my talents, and continue to take some risks.
Identity of silence. I like that.
I love it. Kalima, something that you said actually got me thinking about one of the goals that I set for therapy this year. I struggle with boundaries. So I am really interested in learning more about knowing people's role, being able to identify other people's role in my life and where to categorize them, and how to not do too much too soon for the wrong people, and I feel like part of the setting boundaries for me is also learning to say no. So I'm going to add that to my 2021 goal as well. Setting boundaries and saying no, because I am the yes person. You need me, I'll be there, rain, snow, sunshine, I'm coming. And part of what led my anxiety, depression is that the pandemic hit, and I realized that people were not friends, right? Because you're home now and you have people at home to do these things for you. So then our niece's place in your life was kind of put on the shelf. And then I realized that, one, I was being too dependent on other people to be needed. And that's like part of that whole mindset of always needing to care for someone. And then two, I just did not have any like boundaries set for what you can call me and use me for. So I'm definitely going to add that to my 2021 goals. And I am interested in hearing a little bit more about how you can, um, I like what you said, if they're like a friend, associate, or an assignment. I like that, and very interested in that.
Yeah, I think I know you. I think you love extremely hard, and I think there's nothing wrong with that. But people will take advantage of that, and um, you get hurt in the process. You know, like I think we said it a couple of shows ago. We were talking about how I make a list of people and try to reach out to them on Sundays.
Mhm.
That's not always reciprocated, right? And that's okay because I know that people look. We're all like staring at the wall some days, just like what. So I don't expect a phone call every day, but it does make you reevaluate, you know, going into the next year, who is for you, truly for you in your corner. Like who can you pick up the phone and just crying on the other line to, and they won't judge you, or it won't be repeated, or it won't be a subliminal message on Facebook or Instagram the next week. It's like, what? My business not there? So, you know, like that that reshaping of friendships and adulthood and womanhood is really difficult because women can be really catty for no reason. It's funny because like most mom groups that I belong to, I see at least once a week, moms will write a post like, I'm looking for friends. Who wants to meet up? You know, and I'm like, dang, I'm not alone. Like, so you know, like that is real, and it doesn't matter what color you are. Like I see all women saying this, so this is a real thing. So like knowing that, and there's nothing wrong with like making a list and checking it twice, you know, on like who these people and what value, what equity can they bring to your life. You know, like if we're not talking about business goals, we talking about people. I don't need you in my corner. So like, you know, like that, and then I'll be quiet after this. The second thing that really made me think about my relationships is text messaging. So texting people is weird. People are weird through text message, right? Like I'm like, y'all know me. I'm like, hey boo, what's up? You know, like I'm very like loving, and I can't help that. You know, like versus Earth, like I'm gonna just put you in the spotlight. Earth is like very straightforward, but that's
She's
just
not a texter. She's
no, that's the first.
I'm not a texter at all. My husband says the same thing to me. He's like, you text weird. I was like,
Yeah.
why am I texting you a paragraph? Call me.
That's what she said. Just call me.
Yeah.
So you hate when I send paragraphs? Oh God.
Yes.
I'm a paragraph.
This is too much readings. Yes, no.
I had to realize that like I'm taking things out of context in 2020 because I'm already in my feelings, right? So I'm just sitting home bored and my phone is dry, and then I text you this long, loving message, and you're like, okay, oh yeah. And I'm like, what? So you know, like reevaluating that. It's like why? Like, what is what is triggering you here? Like, why are you looking for this in certain people? Like, you know, you can't expect you from other people, right? So that's the beauty of having these different friendships in people. So that's just it.
That's one of the lessons I learned today, this year, is to stop looking for me in other people and stop expecting myself from other people. Because I realize that, like you say, I love, and when I love hard. So you need me. I know that you live with 10 other people. I'm still going to show up for you. Like I'm there. Like I got my own kid. I'll come pick up you and your 4 kids, and we gonna hang out for the weekend. I love, and I love hard, but I think the part for me where I get disappointed is that I'm expecting me from other people. But this year, last month, let me tell you, something happened. And the first thing I said was, I can't blame you because I'm expecting me from you. And I left it as that. And that was it. And I felt so empowered and so strong after that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm listening to y'all, and one of the things that came to mind is that once you get to a certain age or a certain stage, so it doesn't have to be about age, but a certain stage in life, friendships are different. Like anybody that I have around right now, your family. Like I trust you. We're sisters. There's a sisterhood. There's a sense of family. And there's, like Kalima said, you kind of have to know the difference between folks. And I don't really spend a lot of time or talk and invest in folks that I don't think love me and I love them back. So I'm just noticing that difference. Like I don't even introduce people as, oh, this is my best friend or friend. This is my sister. This, like everywhere we're one type of family. The other thing that came to mind was that I'm really hopeful. I'm feeling really hopeful and listening to y'all. Like I feel that you all are such strong women and you have so much to offer. And despite going through this long and tough year, y'all kicked butt. So I hope if nothing else, other people feel hopeful and hearing that you kind of went through the storm and you made it out, and you made it out stronger.
We all did. I think we all did. I think that we all have grown a lot. I do like Dr. Lynn that you said when you reach a certain stage, because I'm the youngest in this group. I tend to be the youngest in a lot of groups that I'm in, and age ain't nothing but a number for some of these people. Age ain't nothing but a number for some of these people. And but I do think that once you've reached a sense of self clarity and openness and just like a stage of maturity and all I want to do is grow, right? It really helps you weed out the distractions, and the distractions in any form, whether it's a person or a job or an activity. Like it helps you weed out the things that aren't going to help you get to where you need to be next. And 2020 year reflection, year of self-reflection, year of growth, year of doing things I never thought I would do, but I didn't have a choice to do because I was in the house 24/7. So 2020, I feel like I identify with this meme a lot. I'm good for quoting memes, but it said, "Why are we all waiting for January 1st, 2021 at 12:01 a.m. like the world gonna magically be different?" But that is my hope. That is my prayer that when I reach January 1st, 2021, at 12:01 a.m., it is a different world outside.
Can I throw in one goal for all of us? This is just based on talks that I've had with you all. I wish us all financial like growth and prosperity and increasing our financial literacy so we can create intergenerational wealth and pass off some great things. I know that's what I'm striving for. I'm trying to get a couple coins in this new year. So I wish the same for y'all too.
Yes, I welcome that. I welcome that. I take that all in. I claim it. Does anyone have anything else to say about our resolutions, our goal settings, 2020 or 2021?
Yes, just be ready. Ready and open.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Showing my age a little bit. Okay. Dr. Lamb's gonna bless us with a mommy moment now.
All right. So for your mommy minute, we want to encourage you all to invest in your spiritual connection, whether your spiritual connection is to nature or to people or to a higher power. We encourage you to get grounded in that. You can do that by taking a nature walk or engaging conversations with people you really value, or prayer. So whatever that is, invest in that spiritual connection, because in this day and age of uncertainty and a lot of challenges, you need something to push you forward, and that will help.
Love that.
Thank you, Dr. Lamb. We love that. Thank you. And we just want to thank all of our sister moms for joining us on our last episode of 2020. We made it, guys. We're going to be working on our own vision boards. We'll be posting them on our social media. We invite you to send it to us in a DM or an email. Be sure to take care of yourselves, and we'll see you in 2021. Bye.
Bye. Take care.
Yeah.